Hello, this is Martin Houston of the Morning Blitz, and this is First Response Post-Game Show. Um, Normally, I'm a lot more energetic and exciting after an Alabama win, but the Alabama Crimson Tide stretches their win streak over unranked opponents to like 65, 66 games in a row, some crazy number. However, not what we were hoping for, but nevertheless, Alabama gets out of this game with a 31-3 win. Kind of the routine of the day as Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan all have much closer games than the experts had predicted, but nevertheless, they all remain unbeaten and get to go into next week's game. Let's do some quick reviews of the numbers. I got a couple things before I get into those numbers that I want to point out, and I think this is why Coach Nick Saban is disappointed. We're excited about the win, but there are several things that happened during this game that are concerning for Coach Saban, for me as an Alabama fan, and I will get into those as we move throughout the show. But earlier this week, when they were talking about the game, Coach Saban made the following statement, that we prepare to a standard, we play to a standard, and we execute to a standard. And we did not do that today. And I don't know where it went wrong. I don't know if it went wrong with the performance of the playing, the execution, or the preparation. Somewhere was off a little bit. So Alabama has to go back and do a little work. The reason I hate the way this game went is strictly because it gives people hope that you can upset this Alabama team. And Mike McGraw joining us says offensive line needs to do some soul searching, and I totally agree with that as we went throughout this game. I'm going to get into the good, bad, and the ugly in just a moment, so you can put in what you think your good, bad, or ugly was for the game. Also, let me know where you're joining us from this afternoon, tonight, I should say. I see we got a couple people from Mississippi and someone from Alabama, Columbiana, Alabama. Welcome in to First Response. Want to know what you think about who the player of the game was from an offensive, defensive standpoint. What do you think, if you have a player of the game? What was that? Let me hear from you. Let me hear your interactions, and I'll come back and check in with you periodically as I go through these stats. From a team standpoint, Alabama offense racking up 332 yards, 31 points. The couple things to look at, only 14 total first downs, while allowing Chattanooga to get 10. I can tell you initially I felt really bad about this game, and I had made the statement in front of my family as we were watching the game that this is embarrassing. And my youngest son, Simeon, said, "Hey, Dad, it's not that bad." And I think that Saban confirmed that it was embarrassing at halftime. Robert Hurts checking in, saying a little slow, but we will take the win. Time to get ready for Auburn Road Tide. Cindy Griffin, what do I think about Saban needs to say to the team to get more morale? I don't think he really is going to have to say a lot to this team. They seem to be able to motivate themselves in a positive way. And I think they're self-motivated. This is the first time this year, all year, that this team didn't seem to be focused. And I think it really, really was a very sloppy game, like Lafayette Duke says. But I don't think it's something that's going to continue over to next week. I don't know if the team looked forward to Auburn, looked past Chattanooga, or if it was just simply, first of all, Chattanooga did play a really good game. Those kids played hard, so let's give them a little bit of credit, but they should not be able to stay on the field with this Alabama team. I'll continue to move down the stats. You continue to give me your thoughts and comments. I see we have people joining us from Killen, Mississippi, and San Antonio, and Columbiana. Y'all welcome into First Response. Alabama 15 for 21 on a total for a total of 196 yards, and then I'm sorry, for 136 yards, and then 37 carries for 196 rushing yards. Just not a very pretty offensive game. Look kind of disjointed. Ironically, we start the game off with two really good plays, and then, of course, it went downhill from there. Linda Wilder said they need to stop playing, give a team 3 points like that there and could lose the game. You know, the defense, even though it looked bad because of the first drive, ultimately when you look at the numbers, they ended up giving only a total of 184 yards, 114 passing, 70 rushing. What was a little concerning was that they had the ball for 34 minutes, a little over 34 minutes, and we had it just under 26 minutes. So that part's not good. Chattanooga had 2 turnovers. We had 1. Once again, Jalen put the ball on the ground. We just need to clean that up. Don't need to have a fumble in the next game. Mike McGraw, I agree with you that this was by far the worst performance, and as you put in conjunction with that, worst effort of the season. But yet, once again, the Alabama moves to 11-0. Alabama getting ready for the team, but there's several things that happened here that I want to point out. First of all, my good, bad, and ugly. The good, bad, and ugly here could be several things, but my good was that we got the win. Okay, I mean, could have been like last week. It would have been probably the greatest upset in football history, but we did get the win. And Cindy, I'm going to come back to your Auburn question here in a moment. But the good was we got the win. The deep pass to Ridley was also good. And when you really look at it, I would say Reuben Foster's performance, him coming back, that not being a serious injury that would keep him out, that was good. The bad is negative plays. I don't know if we ended up with any more, but at one point deep in the fourth quarter, we had 7 losses, 7 negative plays, and 3 or 4 sacks. I didn't get the exact number there. We didn't get to rest our players, and Chattanooga's time of possession and our third down conversion were all bad things that happened in the game that we want to try to get out of there with. Third down conversion, at one point we ended the game 4 for 13, and that's not championship football. Very, very sloppy game once again, but it's a win, and we get to move on to the Iron Bowl, and we'll see what happens. But my ugly, I have a couple of things to put in on the ugly. I put the entire game was ugly. The lack of execution on the offensive side of the ball was ugly, and the play calling. How in the world do we come into a game where we don't need to get our quarterback hurt, and Hurts runs the ball 16 times, and our leading running back only carries it 13 times. He has 91 yards, and Hurts has 68. You got to do better than that. And so the ugly is the play calling, and the worst part of this game is the potential injuries. That's the ugly part of this game. We were able to get Reuben back in the game. Jonathan Allen looked like he may have been hurt early, but he came back and played. But we had 2 left tackles, and one of those left tackles, pretty much we lost 2 linemen late in the fourth quarter. And I believe, I want to know what you guys think about. What's your response to Saban sending a message to his starters, leaving them in the entire game? And did this backfire on him because we still had our starters in late in the into the fourth quarter when there was no threat of them winning the game? We could have put our backup offensive in, but I think Saban was sending a message, and it may have potentially cost us 2 of our starting offensive linemen. Cam Robinson went down with a shoulder or arm injury, and then Corey Curvin came in, who's the starting right guard the last 2 games, and he went down with a shoulder injury. Don't know the extent of either one of those. Cam went straight in. They say it's not that bad, but of course Alabama says that because they don't want to give away anything. The question is, did this backfire on Nick Saban, leaving his starters in late in the game? We won't know the answer to that until we see who runs out on the field against the Auburn Tigers in terms of our offensive line, as we lost 2 guys late in the game. Let me see. Mike McGraw says Bama's Achilles heel is poor offense. Add to that, the defense has not scored in several games. Throw down a challenge to the defense. Well, I don't know that, Mike, I don't count the defense not scoring against them. In the 3 games that they haven't scored, they've given up a grand total of 6 points. So when the games they scored, they gave up more than that. In the games they hadn't scored, they've only given up an average of 2 points per game. So I think the defense is fine. I think our offense is inconsistent, and I think that inconsistency doesn't reign with the quarterback as much as it does with Lane Kiffin, who I wouldn't trade Lane Kiffin for because of what he's done with our quarterbacks, but it's his inconsistency in the play calling that makes this offense look inconsistent. We need to do what we do. Today was not one of those days. We needed to be running the ball with our quarterback 16 times. We could have thrown the ball, I think, deeper a little bit more, and it did look like Jalen. We tried to do that a little bit more. It looked like Jalen held the ball and didn't want to make a mistake. Sometimes we don't always know what's going on there. Why was this such a bad win moving forward? I think this was a bad win because last week on the Morning Blitz, for those of you who don't know, I host a morning show from 6 to 7 every morning on Top 102.9, 100.9, and you can check it out on your Radio Pup app, or you can go to top1029.com and watch it there. Listen to it there, and then you can watch on my Facebook Live page. Follow facebook.com, martinhouston.org, and also you can go to my personal Facebook page and see it there. But back to why this was a bad loss. This team needed to go into this Auburn game playing and executing at a high level and be in the Auburn players' head. What we did today was give every team in the nation hope that you can catch Alabama unfocused, undisciplined, and not executing at a high level. They had not shown that weakness all year. So that's why it's a bad win, but a win is a win. Do I think this is going to carry over to next week? Probably not, and it actually may end up helping us as it helps this team refocus. I can't wait to get into that press room to hear Coach Saban's response as well as interview the players. Sharon Kilgore just did not play like Bama, but love those guys, and coaches roll tide always. And, hey, before we go off air, I would love to know what you all thought about Saban's message or response at halftime when he said, "I'm embarrassed by the way we played." I was embarrassed. I thought it was really bad showing for Alabama, but at the same time, let's give them a little bit of credit. Also, before I get into the players of the game, one of my teammates, I didn't know this till the young man got hurt in the game, but Lucas Webb, the son of Steve Webb, who is a linebacker, outside linebacker here for the Crimson Tide, and I played with. His son was one of the top 5 SoCon players and got to come back and play in his hometown. So shout out to Lucas Webb. But back to the players of the game, I'm going to give it wasn't a lot of people to choose from on the offensive side of the ball, but Garrett Dieter getting 2 touchdowns, a guy who had been pretty much forgotten in the passing game, but he made a couple good plays today, caught a couple touchdown plays. So, congratulations to him. And then my defensive player of the game is Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster would be my player of the game. You can shoot me and text me or highlight who you think your player of the game is. A couple things of interest coming out of this game that I wanted to point out. Ardarius Stewart not playing. Don't know what that was about. Didn't hear anything about him being hurt. But he did not play. But Cam Sims came in and did a good job as he had 4 receptions for 34 yards. It was good to see that. It was good to see Calvin Ridley get going and get his plays, his 7 catches today. Brandon Green normally plays tight end. I thought that was interesting that when we lost our 2 tackles, that they changed his jersey number, put number 58 on him, and brought him into the game, and he plays tackle. And that brings up the question, where's Lester Cotton? 2 games ago, a young man who started, seemed to play decent or whatever, and was not to be found when we got down to the 3rd tackle. So don't know what's going on there. Those two, a couple of things of interest. And then the other interesting thing is who's going to be out or not when it's time to take on the Auburn Tigers. Mark Anders says Nick will go tell it like it is. A lot of people, I don't know if you guys seen it, are dogging Coach Saban for his response and reaction, but that's what makes Alabama great. Alabama does not normally play down to their competition. They generally play up to whatever their standard is, and they did not do that today. As I said when I first came on air, Alabama prepares to a standard, plays to a standard, and executes to a standard, and we fell way short of that today, even though we got a 33-3 win. Just wrapping things up, Jalen Hurts with 68 rushing yards, 136 passing yards, coming off of the 300-100 game, a little disappointing. Damian Harris, once again, only getting carried the ball 13 times, but has 91 yards. We need to feed the young man a little bit more. We need to get more out of our running game. Our offensive line, already thin, didn't play very well today, ended with 2 injuries. How big would that be next week? That's yet to be seen and yet to be told. This was just not the way we wanted to go into the Iron Bowl, but it is what it is. Alabama, your Alabama Crimson Tide, is a team that can still run the table, so do not panic. Do not jump off the ship. Don't jump out of a window or a ledge. This game will not have any carryover. Alabama will come back out next week, and we'll play a solid game against Auburn, and I think they will beat this Auburn team as dominating fashion as you've seen them play any other team. And this very well may have been what we needed, was a wake-up call. It's always good to get a wake-up call without the loss. And in the past seasons, we've had to lose to get the wake-up call. This year, we're able to win, learn from it, and I think that's going to be the case. Tony Harden said, you're right, a win is a win. We can now concentrate on the Iron Bowl. And, hey, don't think for a second, I've heard people say the Iron Bowl doesn't matter because we're going to Atlanta anyway. Well, our goal is not just Atlanta. Our goal is to go into the playoffs with the number 1 seed, and I believe that Alabama will come out and take care of it. Hey, even after we go off air, if you want to go back and put in some thoughts and comments, I'll respond to you as well. What's your good, bad, and ugly? What's your thoughts of the game? How do you think the Alabama played? Also, potential injuries are very concerning. Also, let me know your good, bad, and ugly for the week. And I want to invite each one of you to make plans to join me on Monday morning from 6 to 7, Monday through Friday, actually on Top 102.9, 100.9 for the Morning Blitz. That's what I do each and every day. We'll have our good, bad, and ugly. We'll also have several other guests throughout the week that help break down the Auburn game. We will spend very little time probably reviewing this one because we'll be moving right on to the Iron Bowl. It doesn't have the same luster that it had, but know this team will want to come out and dominate the Auburn Tigers and make it clear that they're not just the best team in the nation, they're clearly the best team in the state of Alabama. Know you may be like me, a little disappointed with the performance, but celebrate the win, get ready for another big game. And hey, remember this, next week is Thanksgiving, so I want to encourage you to be thankful for all the many blessings that you have, and the many blessings that you have just being a citizen of this great nation of ours. And hey, you may be in another country, but if you're a citizen of the United States and any other person around the world, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, as by the time I see you again, it will have come and gone. I'm working on putting together a pregame show, first response pregame show that'll air probably 1 hour or 1 hour prior to, somewhere between 1 hour and 30 minutes before the Iron Bowl. So it'll be somewhere between 1:30 and 2:30 as the Iron Bowl is set to kick off at 2:30 on CBS. So before I go, let me check out a couple more comments. Brett Kennedy, I wish they would sit Jalen would have set Jalen a couple drives, maybe he will calm down some. I don't know if the kid needed to calm down. I just think he needed to let go of the ball. He just didn't want to make a mistake. Elliott Mosley, they played like they didn't have any motivation, like they haven't played with each other this week. So look confused a lot. I agree with you, Elliott, there, and Mike McGraw. Thankful for many things and so many Bama wins. That's right, Alabama continues to stretch their dominance over the nation, as they will still be the number one team in the land, and that will be not being questioned at all. We got to take care of 2 more games. Congratulations to Coach and the Florida Gators for making it into the SEC championship game, as Alabama once again in an SEC championship game will be playing the Florida Gators. So, you know, the let me see, Mike, regarding not Jalen O-line. Hey, I agree. This team, man, this game gave us an opportunity to show what we need to improve on. Not going to worry about it too much, and want to invite you to join me back, as I said, on Monday for the Morning Blitz, and also be looking for that pregame show before the Iron Bowl. And then, of course, we'll have first response immediately following our win against the Auburn Tigers. So, hey, you all be safe if you're going to be traveling during the holidays. Love you guys. Roll Tide and have a great day. And remember this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's go out and be the difference we want to see in the world. Love someone, share with someone, give someone, and be the difference that you want to see. For Tide 1029, 100.9, and Tide1029.com, I'm Martin Houston with the Morning Blitz saying, Roll Tide. This is your home for Alabama sports.